Showmatch series between bwL and BT. So this should be a pretty cool series. I realized my stream came up a little bit later than it normally does, but I was just getting some last minute things ready. I made a few changes to the overlay to get it ready for round 3. Now, not ready to really show this off yet, so not really much point in mentioning them, I guess, but still looking forward to round 3. This is going to be sort of a precursor to that. There's not going to be too much going on. You can see I've got a nice mug of water to keep my voice going throughout this entire evening, but it should still be good nonetheless. So let's actually have a look at our maps for today. So in set 1 we're going to have Katrina SE, set 2 Sin Peaks of bwL, set 3 Coliseum 2, set 4 Athena 2, and set 5, if we get to it, their ace match is going to be on Neo Ground Zero. So very cool maps coming up today, as always. We've got a pretty cool matchup coming your way as well. Of course, neither of these teams have any form of stats at the moment in the STPL. They are brand new teams for round 3, not joining us from before. So it's going to be cool to see how they do, see how their rosters play out. Our Valhalla team and bwL did great jobs in their first set of show matches, so it's going to be up to them today with their rosters to see if they can really carry on that success and give us some good games before we head into round 3. So let's have a look at who's going to be playing for them. We're going to have Mannerz for bwL on Katrina SE versus SCFA. There's going to be a PvP to start us off, a TVC between Kimquex, or Kimkex, I don't know how to say that, and Black Suns on Sin Peaks of bwL. It's going to be a PvZ between Castle and Galaxy on Coliseum 2, maybe a precursor to the next, the next set, or the first set of games where Galaxy is going to be playing against TT1 when Valhalla face off against 9th team, or not 9th team, FBW now. And then finally, if we don't have an ace match, it's going to be Herbmon versus Domain. So Herbmon, obviously the more well-known out of these two players. He is always streaming. I know he's been around for a very long time. He's been, well, I think he joined about when I did, but he wasn't really active until 2015. We used to practice a lot together, but unfortunately, he did overtake me. He did carry on playing, whereas I took a big break. And the results show he's a great Zerg player right now, and I guess we'll be able to talk about it a little bit more as we head on to the series. But let's actually introduce our first couple of players here right now. For bwL in the first game, we're going to have Mannerz. Now, Mannerz, a cool name, I've got to admit, but maybe a little bit harder to say sometimes, especially when your voice is going already and I've only just started. It's going to be fun. But neither of these players have any stats so far. They've only played in show matches so far. And his opponent going to be for Valhalla team. It is SFCA. Now, SFCA, a pretty strong Protoss player. He's not played too many games, at least that I've seen, so I can't really say how good he's going to do. But he is the co-captain of Valhalla team, just behind Iradiar, so gonna be cool to see if he can do a decent job here as they move on to the first map of today, which is going to be on Katrina SE. Now, unlike on Monday, where some of the map images were a little bit missized, I have fixed that for today, so we're all good to get ready. Now, Katrina SE, a jungle world map from the 2008 Pro League, was also used, I believe, in a couple of other tournaments, so the STX tournaments and things. But very cool map, 12, 6, 3 and 9 o'clock spawns. And with the sort of back naturals. Now, just to answer the question from the chat, NeoChem, the maps are chosen by me, and I choose them because I want to see games on them, and I want to see people play them. So that's why there are a few maps that maybe aren't as balanced, more interesting, like Plasma. I mean, the other reason why I picked that... Okay, so there's a little bit of a science to how I do it. I don't pick all crazy maps, so I don't pick all standard maps. I may pick maps that are certainly favoured towards one race, but then it's a team league, so the teams play around that, they field different players and things like that. So there is a science, but it's all done in my head. And I did get a suggestion from Rapid for this round, because he hadn't really, he'd obviously casted a lot with me, but I'd not asked him for any like maps or anything. So that's where Sim Peaks of Big Do came from, and Katrina. We both agreed that this would be called Sea Games on. But nonetheless, a very fun map, and it'll be really nice to see where we're going in this series. So let's head on over to the game. It's bwL's Mannerz versus Valhalla Team's SFCA. And starting us off here in the 9 o'clock position, we do have in the white, fighting for bwL Brood War Life, it's Mannerz or Mannerz. And his opponent over here in the 3 o'clock position, we do have BT's Valhalla Team's Vice Captain himself, it's SFCA. Now we're going to have a PvP here. Now one thing that I have become quite accustomed to, especially over round 1, maybe not so much in round 2, but in round 1 especially, there was a lot of PvPs in the STPL. A lot of the older teams didn't have that really that much of a diverse roster, so had a lot of mirror matches, especially a lot of Protoss players, because I don't know, there's a lot of Protoss players in the foreign scene. The main team that had Terrans was both Sol and White in round 1, so they had a lot of Terrans, but we didn't really see any TVT. Saw a few more in round 2. Now we can see that SFCA going for the scouting pattern. Just to quickly show off the map, you can see there's sort of this weird area in the middle with sort of an extra third base. I'm not sure we'll really get to see that too much here in a PvZ. PvP even, but that's replicated the entire way around. It's a little bit harder to get across to your opponent, especially when you're cross positions like this. You can see there's a very, very long walk path to even get anywhere close to your opponent. So early game aggression, not that brilliant on this map unless you get lucky spawns, so I don't think we'll see anything too crazy to start us off here. We're going to have a gate into a core by Mannerz. Looks like we're going to have 2 gateways coming in for SFCA now. The good thing about this for Mannerz is it's not going to be do or die. Sometimes with a 2 gate, if you don't get your second gate, you die immediately because you don't have enough zealots. I mean, of course, it is a very big ramp into the main, but you can kind of semi-wall this off. You can see SFCA doing this already. And you'll see when the zealots start to pop out just how long it takes units to get from one side of the map to the other. It may be the same size as most other maps, but you do have a very, very long rush distance. I mean, we can keep an eye on that zealot. Left about 2:38. That's probably going to get there about 3 minutes 10, possibly even 3 minutes. No, I'd say 3 minutes 10 is a good estimate. Maybe 3 minutes 20. I mean, to get just over halfway across the map, it's taken nearly 15 seconds. So that just shows how long it takes zealots to move across. And of course, the probe is going to see this. Mannerz didn't scout his opponent last, which is going to be good for him. Did manage to scout. Now, he could possibly use the probe to block, but looks like he's not going to. Now, the one problem is it's going to be a Dragoon versus 1 Zealot, at least for now. There's going to be another 2 Zealots on the way as well, so it's up to SFCA to really try and put the heart on. Mannerz looks like he wants to try and wall this off. Getting his second gateway, just to be a little bit more careful, is playing a little bit greedily, building that quite late. Now Mannerz with a little bit of a mismicro there, going to take a hit on his Dragoon. Does need to make sure that this Dragoon stays alive for as long as humanly possible, and this second Dragoon is not likely going to be able to get out of the gateway, so it's going to come down to a little bit of a micro battle here in the very early stages of this game. No tech for either player, but we see, wow, a Dragoon can fit through there. Okay, I didn't realize. But there we go, it's going to be Dragoons versus Zealots. Going to be a little bit harder. You can see that the mana pylon by Mannerz on his own Dragoons causing a few little problems, getting a free kill by the Zealots. Now, with 2 Dragoons going down and 3 Zealots still living, this is going to be very, very difficult, if at all possible, for Mannerz to hold on. The first Zealot does go down, but does he manage to get the second and third? These Zealots doing so much damage, 4 kills on both of them, and this is the problem of going for pure Dragoon. I mean, he's got another Zealot that's going to be going down, but the Dragoons are falling like flies. I mean, he's finding it so hard to micro not only his workers, but also his Dragoons. I mean, he's got to micro 2 Dragoons on 2 different fronts. The first one goes down again. The Zealots are still alive in the mineral line. And I mean, he does now have 3 Dragoons, so he can hold on at least for the time being, but for how long? He's taken so much probe damage already. So many Dragoons have gone down, and you can see he's just unable to keep up his micro. And that Zealot's been worth its weight in gold. GG! In a very, very quick PvP, the long rush distance doesn't come into play, and we see the rushing player do a very good job. So great work by SFCA. Now, of course, this is a show match, so that win doesn't count to any overall tallies or anything like that. But it's a little bit of a taster of what the opponents for both of these teams should expect, especially when they go into, say, a PvP in this case. When people play against someone like SFCA, are they going to be thinking that he'll go for a 2-gate? Now, this is where, obviously, different builds, having like a bag of builds, as is said, comes into play and things like that. But we're going to be heading on to our second game just after this. See you guys very soon.